been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
The website looks like my mom is trying to interrupt the podcast. We're going to continue going. Dad's outside today because obviously the big move is happening. We got a lot of big news with that coming up.
Dad's outside. Mom's sitting right next to me.
How y'all doing today, man?
Doing great, man. We're breathing. We're living. You know, it's sunny out here. You got baseball getting ready to start over there, and it's a great day.
That's a pretty nice view. I'm definitely, both Ty and I are stuck inside the house, so it feels a lot more stuffier right now.
Look,
I'm looking at a beautiful view. You know,
I'm
the
hoping
yard.
in a few weeks you're going to see white mountains behind me.
You got to record. The first episode you have to record outside, I think.
I'm going to record up on top of one of the 14ers I'm going to climb.
What's that mean? 14,000? Is that like the elevation?
Yeah, they have the most 14ers in one state, and Colorado has a bunch of them. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a new sport to talk about. We'll have to get some rock climbers on.
Absolutely.
Actually, we don't need to debate whether that's a sport or not.
I mean, that's a sport that I wouldn't want to do. I can tell you that. Well, obviously the big headline is Baker Mayfield traded to the Panthers for a 4th or 5th, depending how much playing time he has.
It's a conditional fifth.
To the Carolina Panthers, who obviously they have ranked last in a lot of stats the past couple of years. They're a cluster fire. There's a lot going on there. They can't find a QB situation. They like a guy. They don't like a guy. Christian McCaffrey can never stay healthy.
Got a receiver, Robbie Anderson, who actually talked crap about Baker Mayfield on Instagram or Twitter or one of them. You have a coach who's on the hot seat. So Baker went from one messed up organization basically to another.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that this could really like squeeze the potential of him having a good year. But the whole Robbie Anderson thing, actually, it's funny you bring that up. He was on a podcast and they were talking. They brought it up. They're like, so obviously you tweeted this out. And he's like, it's not that I don't like Baker. It's just, kind of defending my QB at the time, because I have chemistry with Sam Darnold. And I'm not going to sit there and be like, yeah, let's bring Baker in. You know what I mean? Like, it's messed up. So I understand that. At the end of the day, he's going to play football and it is what it is. But he didn't really talk highly of Baker. But But what are your guys' thoughts on this? Baker's finally released from the Browns, who kind of slapped him in the face and said that they were looking for more of an adult QB. So they go and get a QB who has more assault, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word on my hand than I can count. And now looks like they might just fall apart because who knows even when Deshaun Watson's going to play. Jacoby Brissett's probably going to be the starter. They play the Panthers week. They're going to play the Panthers week 1 in Carolina. So what are your guys' takes on this going through your mind when you first saw this report?
Go ahead, Ace.
The fact that they're playing week 1, I think, was like sort of ironic that it was Panthers. Panthers were the only team that was vying to get him. And I think it's a good move for the Panthers. I think they view, I would assume they probably view him as a better quarterback overall than Darnold. Plus they got the rookie in and PJ Walker, who Matt Corral.
Like there's a lot of options. That's why I not to cut you off, Ace. I just feel like this is a dumpster fire. Like I like Baker. I want him to do well, but it's like Carolina can't find their identity.
Well, they have one. This is a prove it year I think this is a prove it year for Baker, which is why, unless he struggles in mini camp or anything like that, I would expect him to be the starter. How funny would it be? You trade for a guy, he doesn't even start week 1 against his rival team. There's no way that's not happening.
Yeah.
And, and the thing is too, is there's rumors out there that those other teams, Detroit Lions were one of them. Tampa Bay, the Bucks were another one.
That would have been cool.
So if you're Baker, do you think he chose wrong? I think I would, if I was Baker, I'd rather want to go play behind Tom Brady and learn from Tom Brady. Yeah, you're getting $18 million guaranteed this year.
Do you really think Baker had do you think he had a say in this?
I'm sure he did. To a point. Let's face it, players have a lot of power anymore, more so in basketball than football. But you look at where Carolina's going. They just fired their offensive coordinator. They got a new one. They got a coach who's on the hot seat. You have Sam Darnold, who's getting money, the same pay as him. So they're going to have to make choices. You just drafted a quarterback last year. You do have weapons. You have DJ Moore, you have Chuba Hubbard, McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson. You have weapons there, but
weapons when they stay healthy.
Does this make them a playoff team? I don't think so.
And what you said, I don't think
No.
Baker, he's still in that rookie contract, so I don't think he had that player option to have a say as far as what team he goes to. Tampa Bay, I think, would have been a really good option for him to learn behind Brady, but I also don't think Carolina will be his long-term team. I think
Yeah.
that this might be like you see it with a lot of people, they go to a team for like a year or 2 years. See in baseball all the time too. Go prove it, and then you'll have your choice at free agency.
Yep.
I don't know if this will be the turning point for the Panthers to go to the playoffs. Sorry, but I think Baker will go to the playoffs before Deshaun Watson will.
Ooh. And I think you guys are right. This is a dysfunction for the Panthers, but it's a win for Baker. He got out of where he wanted to get out of. He got out of the Browns. He's likely, again, it'll be he'll hit free agency next year. If he has a good year, he's going to get a long-term deal, most likely.
Yeah.
And somewhere else. Would he have started in Detroit?
I don't know, because there's a lot of people that say that the Detroit Lions shouldn't even rush to get rid of Goff because what they're building there isn't a bad thing. Goff didn't even. I'm not gonna speak on Goff because obviously he didn't play the greatest, but look at the team around him. I just don't think. I don't know who would have started there.
He did good with the Rams.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say Goff is a good quarterback because I don't think he's a good quarterback, but I don't think I think he was handling Detroit well. With what they had and where they're growing. I think they got a good coach. I don't know if Baker would. I think it would have been a good competition there.
Let me ask you this: Where did Baker have it better? In Cleveland with all those weapons around him, or in Carolina?
I think it's honestly, besides
Cleveland.
the running back. I mean, you can even debate the running back if Christian McCaffrey's healthy. I think it's almost the same. I mean, Odell Beckham was always injured. Jarvis Landry was injured almost all last season.
But other than
Ooh.
Baker's rookie year, you look at the weapons they put around him. That could have very well been a playoff team every year.
I think it could have, and I
Yeah.
think Cleveland was a very good situation for. I think Baker loved playing for Cleveland, but I just think the way the ownership handled everything and went out and got a quarterback after telling Baker he's the guy. I think that was the end of it. I mean, if I put Baker if I put myself in Baker's shoes, I mean, put yourself in Baker's shoes. I mean, you say you're working and your boss says, yeah, you're the man. We're gonna make you the promotion to be the manager. Like you're the guy we want you. And you've been here for 4 years, and then go get a guy off the street who hasn't worked in a year, and now he's the manager.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, Colin Cowherd had an amazing piece on, and they're saying that it wasn't Baker. Cleveland was just dysfunctional. I think almost every football team is dysfunctional. And this is what Colin Cowherd said. He said, Baker just is not good enough. He's like, Cincinnati, one of the cheapest teams in football since he can remember, got Joe Burrow. They were playing great. And as soon as Joe Burrow got hurt, they became dysfunctional again. What happened to Joe Burrow last year? Came back for a full season, took a team that was dysfunctional to a Super Bowl. So the quarterback there was the answer. The Saints were called the Aints. All the way up to the point where they got Drew Brees. Drew Brees, who was an awesome quarterback, turned that team around.
Instant Hall of Famer.
Okay. The Colts from 1978 to 1999 never won more than 10 games in a season. Who steps in? Peyton Manning, stud quarterback, shows up and they become a 15-year juggernaut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers went to 2 playoff games in 25 years till they signed a guy named Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills went to the playoffs 1 time in 17 years.
Josh Allen.
Guess what? Josh Allen has them as the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year.
Just to cut you off real quick, I truly believe the Bills are going to be the new Patriots in the next 5 years. For the next 5 years, like I think that's going to be the team.
Well, speaking of the Patriots, they lost Tom Brady. Look where they went. They're dysfunctional. They don't have a good quarterback. They're bad in the draft. They're bad in the draft. Okay, but they're not a team that stands out as, hey, you're going to go to the Super Bowl. They're not.
No.
Well, they lost the OC Daniels to the Raiders.
So I'm confused here. Are you saying Baker's not the answer when you have a team that went 1-32 before his playoff debut, and then he won 7 games his first rookie year when he only played? He didn't play a full season. And
Baker. You can put Baker on any team, and I just think he's not the answer. He's not that stud quarterback. He reminds me of, and I said this before, he reminds me of Tony Romo. He's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but he makes a lot of mistakes, throws a lot of picks. He only had 1 season where he wasn't in double digits for interception.
I guess that's a good view.
And this is Baker Mayfield's numbers in the 4th quarter in his career. NFL ranking since 2018, completion percentage 57.4. That ranks 30th in the league. Interceptions 19. That's tied for last in the NFL. Passer rating 77.7, 29. So in the 4th quarter, he's subpar quarterback. He's ranked last in almost every category.
See, I feel like there's numbers on both sides here. And
Yeah.
I feel like we're all in pretty much agreement that we don't think Baker is this great quarterback. I don't think Baker's bad. I mean, again, like, sure, you might not think he's the answer to the Browns, but again, like I just said, this team was 1-31 in 2 seasons, and then you have a kid that comes in and they win 7 games. He sets at the time he set the NFL rookie touchdown record at 27. He didn't even start all the games.
Well, Dak came in his first year and set all those records. How far did it get us? Not far.
but Dak still stepped in for Romo and still made Dallas a competing team, though.
I'm just saying, Cleveland has had all those weapons around them. I guarantee you, if you take Baker Mayfield and put him on the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think they win more than 10 games.
Now let me.
He makes a lot of dumb mistakes.
Let me show you this stat that I found today. I totally agree. The year they went to the playoffs, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, I think they combined for 2,400 yards or 2,500 yards. I don't remember the exact number, but everyone's like, oh, they had Odell Beckham, they had Jarvis. When Odell Beckham went down the year they went to the playoffs, Baker took off and they went 8-3. He threw for 20 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, where Pro Football Focus graded him as the 4th best QB during that span. They go to the playoffs. He plays the Steelers. He beats them in Pittsburgh, where he had a QBR of 91 out of 100.
In 4 seasons, Baker Mayfield has 56 interceptions.
I'm just saying, like, the guy has a resume, though. I mean, and then you think about last season, his first 2 games, he starts with an 82 completion percentage. But at the end of that second game, that's where he fractured his shoulder and he tears his labrum, and then he throws for 50% the rest of the year.
I would rather have Winston over Mayfield, and I'd rather have Kirk Cousins over Baker Mayfield.
I would take.
I for sure would take Cousins. Although he's probably a lot more accurate. I don't know about Winston. But I think Winston. Yeah, they're both.
I think Winston
wild cards.
I think Winston and Baker. I like Winston.
Winston was 5-2.
I totally agree. But we couldn't even average 200 passing yards.
But I'm telling you, Baker Mayfield is going to be known as the gunslinger. Brett Favre was a gunslinger. Tony Romo, gunslinger. But the problem is they're going to be remembered for their mistakes, not what they did. Tony Romo was never going to make the Hall of Fame. Great numbers, but guess what? Never went to the playoffs, never went to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just you're gonna remember Tony Romo for dropping that field goal in Seattle. You're gonna remember Tony Romo for scrambling and throwing interceptions and trying to do too much with his legs and his arms. That's Baker Mayfield.
I think the only thing that just really confuses me here is I don't understand why there's such a debate to like bring Baker down and say he's not a good quarterback. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's
not. No, they're not saying he's bad.
No,
they're not saying he's
so
bad.
Like wherever you go, and this could just be with anybody, I guess, but it's always like everyone's talking about how bad Baker is, right? But it's like we ignore the fact that he completely revived the Browns. I'm not saying he did on his own. Like we have definitely seen that he built pieces around him. But I just read you the stat when Odell Beckham wasn't even in the game, and Peoples-Jones-Drew was a rookie. He didn't have much as far as the wide receiver corps, and he was able to go 8-3. And Pro Football Focus ranked him as the 4th best quarterback in the league at that time. And they go to the play like they have
one season. That was one season.
But they also won 7 games his rookie year when he barely played most of those games, and were 1-31 the year before. Like I'm not sitting here and saying Baker's the answer to this franchise, but I just feel like people are always trying to build him down, but don't look at what he did for that organization. I mean, he revived the fans. He revived that state and that franchise.
I just think Baker Mayfield is not that kind of quarterback where, like, if you're one piece away, you think, yep, of all the quarterbacks I can pick up, Baker Mayfield's not going to come to your top of your list and saying that's the quarterback I want to take this team to the Super Bowl.
We'll find out. With the Panthers. This will be a year that we'll find out and see. All right, can Baker revive the Panthers?
They already have him listed as the top quarterback on the depth chart.
Okay, here we go. Hot take for all of us. How many wins does Carolina get this year with Baker Mayfield as a quarterback? I say 5.
I think
5-12.
Well, number one, you got to. I honestly want to say you have 4 losses off the bat, not because I'm a Saints fan, but you think about the Tampa Bay defense, the Saints defense. That's 2 tough. That's 4 tough games right there. I think if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, I think that's the huge thing there. I think if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, I could see them getting 7 wins. Yeah, I think if Christian McCaffrey's not healthy,
it's your pick. Yeah,
it makes it very interesting to see what happens. And they have good receivers. They have good receivers. They have a young defense if they stay healthy. I know that a lot of their draft picks got injured last year, but I'll say 7.
I was gonna say about 6 to 7. I don't know whose defense is better, that or the Panthers or the Browns, who at this point who really cares until they actually get on the field. But there's no way. I can't see them making the playoffs, not in that division.
Hot take. Who do you think wins that week 1 game?
Well, Tampa Bay plays Dallas.
Panthers, they're going to give it to Baker.
Oh, yeah.
The Panthers will win that. I don't know how, but if it's him versus Brissett.
I think Brissett's a better quarterback than him.
No, settle down now. Settle down.
He was good with the Colts.
He was okay with the Colts. I'm not saying.
And all he's got to do is just turn around and hand it off to Chubb or Kareem Hunt.
And I think Cleveland has better weapons. I mean, you got Amari Cooper, you have Peoples-Jones, you got what's his name, the Jacku, what his name is, that the tight end.
Yeah,
you got a great running game.
I agree. That's why Baker loved it there.
I think is it in Cleveland?
No, it's in Carolina.
I think it's in Carolina.
Oh, if it was in Cleveland, I'd say Carolina loses by 10.
I'd even say I would even say in Cleveland Baker wins. I mean, think about his college days. I think Baker comes in with a chip on his shoulder.
And I think that's the problem. He comes in with a chip on his shoulder and throws 3 picks.
One for taken to the house.
You know who Baker reminds me of? Reminds me of Johnny Manziel.
No, not at all. Not at all. You can't make that. You can't make that. You cannot make that comparison because what Johnny Manziel lasted what?
It's a podcast. I could say whatever I want.
Johnny Manziel lasted like 5 games in the NFL.
I know, but so what? Baker made it 4 seasons, but I'm just saying, as far as attitude wise and the way they act on and off the field, I think he's a Johnny Manziel.
No, see, the thing that I hate is Baker. Everyone hates Baker's attitude. Baker has a winning attitude. He wants to win. Like yeah, sure, he wants to get paid, but he wants to win, and that's what I want on my team. I want a guy that wants to win. I don't want a guy that gets paid and just lays back and says it is what it is if we win or lose. I want a guy that wants to win.
The problem is he's got this stigma over him now that he's not a receiver's quarterback, and all these guys that are coming out and talking crap about him now. Every time he makes a mistake, that's going to ride and it's going to loom on him, and people are going to write about that. Robbie Anderson, is another one that could be a problem.
And nobody from the Browns came out to defend him, like at all, and that's just is sort of weird because
it was probably the Odell thing that we talked about. That probably ruined the locker room.
Yeah.
That ruined the locker room. I mean, at the end of the day, I like Baker. I do. And I love a good revenge story and a good comeback story. And again, I think we agree on a lot of these topics. We don't think Baker's a great quarterback, but I also think Baker has potential to still thrive.
Who's better, Baker or Jimmy G? Baker. I'll take Baker.
Next topic.
The only thing that always holds me high with Jimmy G is just the fact of his resume. And besides Kittle, who did he really have?
Yeah, Jimmy G might not even have a team this year. He's on the trade block.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy. If he's that good, why doesn't anyone want him?
And everyone wants to say, like Baker's, like you think Baker and Sam Darnold, they're both 4 first-round picks, and where are they at? They're both on the same team. They're both trash. But when you look at Darnold and Baker, like what has Darnold done with his career besides be injured almost every year?
Yep.
Go ahead, Ace. Go ahead.
Well, that's why I think a lot of these quarterbacks need to sit. Like, regardless of if you're the number 1 pick or not, Darnold clearly wasn't ready.
That's what Robbie Anderson said.
Oh yeah,
he said Anderson should have sat.
Yeah.
When you start your career in the Jets, the shit show of an organization. I mean, it's tough. And then you go to Carolina. I mean, everyone forgets he was 4-0. He was having a great season until he came to Dallas, and then injuries hit that team. When you start losing offensive linemen, you losing. Once you lose your running back, who's a stud, who's Mike Trout of the NFL. You become one-dimensional. You don't have a running game. Guess what? That killed Dallas. Dallas couldn't run the ball. Guess what? It killed them.
All right. To end this conversation with Baker, at the end of the day, who do you want? If you're the Carolina Panthers owner who clearly has his button ready for the reset button, who you start in week 1? You starting Baker? You starting Darnold? You starting Matt Corral?
Definitely Baker.
Baker, yeah.
I think Baker's your best chance to grow some chemistry. Win this guy. I mean,
I'm sorry,
Darnold. I think I as much as I've always wanted Darnold to have that comeback, I think Darnold is right there for bust.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, like you said, Dad, last year I was like, yo, maybe he found it. He's 4-0, right? He did get injured, but he also took time off, came back from those injuries, and completed a QBR of 32 last year.
Yeah, I mean, but just face it, they had a lot of offensive line injuries. He got sacked. He got hammered a lot. I mean,
he did, absolutely.
When you don't have time to even think to go over your reads, That's bad, and that's not a Darnold problem. That's a team problem.
Yep. And that's the last thing I was going to say too. The Browns had, I think, 1 or 2 offensive linemen retire, but I still think they have a better offensive line than the Panthers. So.
Yeah. Where do you think? Where do you think?
I'll tell you, one thing I love about Baker, though, Baker reminds me of Tony Romo. That guy will play with his leg broken. You know, he gives you that grit. He gives you that I want to play mentality, which is amazing because like you see guys that they get paid a lot of money, they get a hangnail and they're out for 4 weeks.
And that's what I said. I love that.
Guys like that. And
that's what I said.
And look,
yep.
I'm never going to say Baker's a bad quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback. He just reminds me of a Tony Romo, gunslinger.
Yeah.
So he's gonna win a game for you, or he's gonna lose a game for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, where do you guys think this takes Jimmy G? You know, what team do you think he just stays with the 49ers and competes against Trey Lance and wins that job or loses that job? Or do you think another team comes out and says, you know what, we want you to compete for starting QB at this point? I mean, there's not a lot of teams I can think of off the top of my head that need a quarterback right now. I think Detroit is cool. I don't even think Atlanta's high on that Ritter kid.
Yeah, but they have what, Mariota gonna
they
be
have Mariota starting, but they drafted that Ritter guy and they are high on him right now.
I heard Tampa Bay was interested in Jimmy G because let's face it, Tom Brady probably has 1 year left because next year he's going to make $380 million to go be a broadcast analyst making $80 million a year. So I mean, if you're Jimmy
didn't they
G,
just draft somebody?
They do. They have a quarterback they drafted 2 years ago, but wouldn't you want to go play behind Tom Brady?
I'd rather play behind Tom Brady than have some little kid hop in front of me.
Yeah,
I think he stays with San Francisco until training camp. So maybe give it a month or two, and I think maybe he gets dealt. Because who knows? We still haven't seen Trey Lance. Yeah, we saw him in a few.
Couple games last year. I think he played 1 or 2 games last year that I think he played well in. But yeah, you know, like he still has the upper hand over Trey Lance. You know.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this.
In Seattle. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say Seattle is to me in more of a funk than most other franchises right now. And nobody's really talking about that.
I think they're settled. I think they're settled with Drew Lockett right now, though.
Yeah.
They haven't come out and said anything.
But why? Why? Like, is he better than Baker?
Maybe they like next year's draft.
Drew Lock wasn't bad in Denver.
No.
I mean,
I think there's better quarterbacks coming out of this draft that they're hoping for.
I think you're going to see the same problems that Russell's going to have. Russell going to Denver, it's no different than being in Seattle. Seattle, he had great offensive weapons, but no line. Denver has no line. I mean, they don't have a good running game, so Russell's going to be using.
Denver has a good running game. They have a really good young kid, and they have Melvin Gordon back.
Dallas has a great running back too. But guess what? You don't have a line. If you don't have a solid line to open up holes, you're not going to have a good run game.
Yep.
What are you going to ask?
I can't even tell you the last time we heard of Denver having a 1,000-yard rusher. I was going to ask you guys, who has a longer career as a starter, Baker Mayfield or Jimmy G?
I don't know. Going to say Jimmy G because he's already had a few extra years under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I would say Baker is how old is Jimmy G? Because he spent 4 years under Tom Brady or something, and he's played 4 years with the 49ers. You know, when is it Jimmy G reminds me of a Joe Flacco, a guy that wasn't that bad, but also he doesn't really get that opportunity because there's always young kids coming into the league.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Joe Flacco went from taking the Ravens to the Super Bowl to he gets injured. Lamar Jackson hops in. Goodbye. You're not stepping in front of Lamar Jackson. By the way, who looks jacked now. I don't know if you saw that photo of him, but I mean, I don't know. I mean,
my thing is if Matt Rule's, if his job's on the line, who do you go with? Do you go with Baker if the team struggles, or do you go with the quarterback you drafted?
I mean, I think your best option. And not even because I like Baker, but Baker is trying to prove so. I mean, you've seen Sam Darnold trying to prove himself for the past 4 years. You know, this is the first
playing for a contract.
This is the first time Baker is out there playing for a contract. So I mean, I feel like you play that guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree.
But I mean, Jimmy G. I feel like Jimmy G. Even if he doesn't start, that's your next Chase Daniel.
Yeah.
You know, backup that is just always there, that looks great, but never plays.
That's amazing that you put Jimmy G and Chase Daniel on the same plane. I mean, that's
no, you know what I mean? Though, I see that.
Look, I understand what you're saying. I agree with you 100%. Jimmy G is on Chase Daniels.
That's not what I said. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Imagine Tampa turns into the Patriots 2.0 though. They do end up bringing in Jimmy G.
Yeah.
That would take over after.
But hey, some other NFL news. The Bears mayor, Chicago's mayor,
I literally have that note right in front of me.
possibly wants them to go to a roof format where they
A
have
dome.
A dome.
It's not going to happen,
Me-
though. It's not going to
Me
happen. though.
personally, I just think there's certain teams in the NFL that you can't see that happen to. I just think there's certain teams, and these are the teams that I listed: the Bears, the Packers, New England, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland, are teams that need to be outside. It's just going to Green
Cincinnati.
Bay in December. Yeah.
Also,
Green Bay
also
in
the same
Chicago.
time, if I was a Bear, though, like, I don't. So that's cool. You know what I mean? The visiting team hates it, but also I hate it because it's like negative 10 degrees outside and I can't feel my fingertips.
Now, a lot of rumors have it is they want to go to a dome because they want to get a Super Bowl. Pat McAfee is actually for it. He loves it. Of course, he's a
It's not
punter.
gonna.
He's
It's
a
not gonna
kicker.
happen though because
He's a
they
kicker,
just
so
they just signed a $197.2 million purchase and a sale agreement with Churchill Downs Incorporated for a 326-acre Arlington Park property where they plan on building a new stadium in the suburbs. So this is like the mayor. They're saying this is the mayor's attempt to kind of say like, I tried that we didn't lose Soldier Field, but who knows? Money speaks. For all we know, like they might come up with something to keep Soldier Field. In my opinion, I like Soldier Field. I think it's kind of cool looking. It's a very
iconic.
It is. It's iconic.
Yeah.
It is like you look at that field and you're like, it's football. You know what I mean? But that contract for Soldier Field, I believe, it runs into 2033. And then I think that's when like they plan on being done with the stadium in Arlington if that's the route they go.
Man, history as we know it. It's crazy. History is changing.
I know.
Yeah,
man.
imagine the Packers with a snow globe. They have a snow globe over the stadium.
Yeah.
Just covered. Nobody, come on. That's not realistic.
But you've seen how nice that can look, though. I mean, look at Minnesota's glass roof. Like that's so beautiful, though. I mean, you also think for the fans, like, I mean, it's a cool experience, but would I want to sit outside in 10-degree weather watching my team play while it snows and wind miles is 20 miles per hour with a chill?
Dude, that would be awesome, man. To go to a Dallas Cowboys Packers game in December where your eyelashes are frozen and you have
you can't speak.
Beard. That would be just awesome. It'll be something that you'll never ever forget. It's like
me and you can't grow beards. Me and you can't grow beards though, so that's frostbite. That's frostbite.
Yeah. But I just
icicles.
I think the benefit for Chicago is let's face it, if you have a stadium like that, I mean, look what Jerry Jones is doing with his stadium. He's getting bull riding, he's getting concerts, he's getting indoor events. I mean, they're gonna get the soccer thing, the World Cup. So that's huge. I mean, if Chicago, they can only hold events when it's sunny and above freezing.
Ace, what were you gonna say about Minnesota? The glass roof.
It's cost us taxpayers another $200 million because birds fly into it. And so the reflection, it's like the same thing happens at my offices too. Birds will fly into it all the day because they built a freaking, 13-story building next to a refuge, like a national refuge wildlife.
Jeez.
Place. So they're cutting off the migration patterns of all these birds.
The reason I think too, man, if you can save Soldier Field and you could put a glass dome on it, I do believe that you'll get more people coming and more opportunities to do things like a Super Bowl, or a Pro Bowl, like just anything that you can think of.
I just think there's certain stadiums. I just think there's certain stadiums you don't touch. Soldier Field you don't touch.
Yeah.
Green Bay you don't touch. Wrigley Field you don't touch. Boston's Fenway Park you don't touch. Those are iconic stadiums. Even the Yankees, when they built their new stadium, they made it identical to their old stadium. It's just it's those things you never change. That would be like Michigan knocking down the big house and putting just bleachers in.
Yeah.
It's just certain stadiums, like you have a bucket list, whether you like those teams or not. We got to see Chicago Stadium when we were out there a long time ago. I would love to go to see a Packers game. I'd love to go to the big house. Wrigley Field, I don't even like the Cubs, but to go see that, to walk in there, it's got to be amazing.
Michigan game is on my bucket list. I'd even go see it. It probably will never happen, but if Michigan ever played Colorado State, I'd fly out to Colorado to watch that.
Oh God, yeah, maybe in a bowl game.
Yeah, I don't think that would. I don't think that would ever happen.
Well, real quick NFL news. Camps are getting ready to open up soon. I love the
Woo!
fact that the Dallas Cowboys are actually still working out on their own. Dak Prescott put up pictures. And I got to tell you what, man, I don't have a man crush at all on Dak, but Dak looks ripped, man.
Yeah, every year he does.
He
It's
actually
it's the
lost
bald
weight.
head, isn't it?
No, he lost weight. He's ripped. Him, Dalton Schultz, and a bunch of receivers got together. They're working out on their own in Miami.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott looks ripped.
I'm down here in Miami. I can go see him. Get his autograph for you.
I'm pumped for this year. There's a lot of unknowns, and it's going to be interesting.
You know what you guys should be looking at is you go on NFL's Instagram page about once a week. You'll see a video of Jameis Winston with the Iverson braids, throwing footballs in the rain, throwing football out there with all his receivers. I'm telling you, man, look out for this guy. He's going to be stepping over people for the MVP this year. I'll tell you what, though, it is amazing to see him working so hard. You see the scar on his knee. He doesn't got the afro anymore. He's got the Iverson braids now, and he's working hard. And I love it. I love it because this is the first year that I'm truly so excited. Like I usually love summer and I embrace it. I love baseball, but I am itching for fall. You know, it's not Drew Brees anymore.
I would too if I lived in Florida.
Like I'm not used to Breeze. Like every year, I'm so used to Breeze every year giving us 13 wins, 11 wins. You know, I experienced last year what that's not like, and now it's like now you have the team built around Winston. I'm so excited.
We should try to have Summers on before the season, like right before week 1 starts.
Talk about Zion Williams deal too.
And that's
that's huge.
I wish I had as much fandom as Ty expresses. Well, both you express for your teams, because I'm just like, ho hum. Let's hope that this Cousins trade works out. We can get to the Super Bowl. But it's
there's some people, Ace, that don't like what we talk. Like when I talk, like I'm a straight shooter. If I don't like my team, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
no, I'm gonna say this team sucks. Dak Prescott's not getting it done. I speak my truth. It's my opinion. Nobody has to like it, but I'm not going to be that rah-rah guy and just keep rooting for my team and say, oh, better luck next week. No, if you suck, you suck. And I'm going to call you out on it, especially when I spend a lot of money on your merchandise. You suck.
You ever meet somebody and like your icebreaker is like you try and talk about sports and you're like, oh yeah, you watch football, and they're like, yeah. Like, just for instance, they're like, yeah, I'm a big Cowboys fan. And then you start like naming like headlines or Cowboys players, and they're like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, oh, clearly you're not a fan.
Like I honestly, I believe last year was our best opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl, and we blew it.
Noah said this year. I said last year was your best year.
Last year was our best year. And look, I don't think we're going to fall off a lot. I think we're going to have improvements. I think our offensive line is going to be a lot better than last year. I think Zeke looks good. Zeke was injured. I think that's coaching right there. You should not have played Zeke as much as you did if he was injured. You should have played Pollard more. I think with the weapons we have, and now they have us linked to Julio Jones, which I'm not liking that at all. I think that would be. I think
that'd be a good red zone guy to have, especially for Dak to throw it high and just get it in there.
I just think there's a lot of unknowns.
By the way, go ahead, Ace. Go ahead.
I don't know what was wrong with Julio in Tennessee, but he
hamstring, man.
All year.
He just cannot stay healthy. I mean, he just cannot stay healthy.
Soft tissue injuries don't go away.
I was to say, I feel like once you have a hamstring problem, like that's just a problem you're always gonna have. By the way, Ace, like I don't know what it is, but ever since I become a Saints fan, like my Saints, and I've been through hell with the Saints. Like when I first became a Saints fan, it was like the Bounty Gate years. Like they could have like 4 wins, and I'm screaming every game, hoping, maybe there's a Super Bowl chance. You never know. We're always the underdogs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. I just how I am with the Saints. Like, I will live and die with the Saints.
Ace, I mean, you should be pumped. You should be pumped for Minnesota, man. You got a new coach. You got an offensive.
That division's yours. That division's yours.
Coach that just went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl.
Yes, it is. I mean, I think a lot of people here are waiting for fall too. The loyalty, or not the loyalty, the lack of care that the last regime, Zimmer and them, kind of showed is this new blood that we got with Kevin O'Connell is completely different energy. And I think so many fans here are like eager to get going, but I'm also sort of just waiting in the wings. Like, okay, well, let's see it happen first before we start anointing them the champs of the division or anything.
But you
So-
know what's funny? Everyone in Dallas, if I listen to 105.3 The Fan, they're so pumped they want to have Mike McCarthy gone so they can get Sean Payton. Sean Payton's no better than Mike McCarthy. He only went to one Super Bowl.
Oh, I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, that win
Mike
percentage.
McCarthy
That
dominant. Mike
that
McCarthy
win
was a dominant
percentage.
coach. Mike McCarthy had a great win percentage in Green Bay.
He was also the play caller, right? Peyton
Yeah.
for the same. So what happens with Kellen Moore then?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, cross
Okay.
that bridge next year, I guess. But man, that's a tough decision.
As long as you have a family-run organization with the GM as the son of the owner, things aren't going to change. Although Dallas has been having really good drafts lately. Got to give them credit. They have really been putting things together. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
I can't wait till it's fall out
I-
and it's like 20 degrees out there in Colorado. I can just send you a picture of my feet in the beach.
Well, I was just gonna say, you guys, we should try to get out to training camps.
We should.
I'd have to go to Oxnard.
Well, no, you could like Ty could see the Dolphins or something. I don't whatever the closest. That'd be pretty sweet.
Dad can go get a quick interview with Russell Wilson. Just take his phone up. Hey, real quick, let me ask you one question.
I got to look and see where Denver has theirs. That would really be cool.
Heck yeah, it would.
Yeah,
You,
Minnesota.
you think they would want to stay in-house in Colorado to get used to that climate and that air?
Well, you see the videos of Russell Wilson throwing, you just see the mountains in the background.
It's got to be in. Yeah.
It's
Well,
got to
and-
be.
Sorry, I was gonna say that's why when you mentioned Arlington, I thought for some reason the Bears were building that as like their practice, like a practice facility, almost for like training camp. But if that's the actual stadium, they're really uprooting where they're coming from.
Yeah. That's more of like a suburbs area.
Where do the UC Health Training Center? I don't know. That doesn't tell you anything.
No.
It's got to be. It looks like it's. I have no clue. Inglewood, wherever Inglewood, Colorado is.
I'd have to find that. I don't know. It's probably an hour away. No matter where you go, it's always an hour away.
Oh, great.
Well, let's move on, Dad. I know you want to talk about some NCAA stuff.
Yeah, college football, the Big 12 is in recovery mode, and they're talking about the new possible stacked formation of teams that they could have. Let's face it, these conferences are going to have to do something because they're going to become has-beens. So the Big 12, what it could look like, they have Oklahoma State, the Baylor Bears, they have Iowa State Cyclones, who are really not that good, Kansas, who hasn't been good in football forever, West Virginia, who's not bad, TCU. So, teams like TCU, Baylor, Oregon, Kansas State's not too bad, Texas Tech Red Raiders. It's going to be a pretty good division. BYU, Cincinnati Bearcats, who just came off a great season. UCF, who's
UCF.
Houston Cougars. So they're going to have a wide variety of teams that are going to try to build this up. Utah, who's not bad. The Washington Huskies. So things are coming to a change. And my whole thing is what happens to these teams? Like, what's going to be the outcome? Are they going to take one team from each division? Are they going to still have the overall rankings? It's going to be real interesting what happens with college football, because if they have these super conferences, what's going to happen to these teams?
Yep, it's a free for all right now, and like this just explains how much the president, they really don't do much at all to control the league. So who knows? I think what we talked about last week really makes sense, where you sort of maybe tier the teams up, maybe have a sort of relegation style, something like that. You expand the playoffs, maybe whatever, 8 teams, 12, whatever the case may be, expand the playoffs. I have no clue.
Because UCF, man, you think about it, all those teams are West Coast except for Cincinnati and West Virginia. They're going to be traveling a lot.
Yeah. Well, and like, this is what bothers me when the NCAA really doesn't do anything. They don't come out and kind of guide or help the conferences in a certain direction, where it's, who knows where Cincinnati goes, those are pretty good programs that honestly would fit well in the Big Ten, for instance.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, Cincinnati just came off an amazing season.
Yeah, I would rather have them in the Big Ten than UCLA and USC. Like
That makes
just
no
doesn't-
sense. That
yeah,
makes
it just doesn't
no
make sense.
sense. When you guys told me that last podcast, that literally makes no sense. Geographically, that makes no sense.
But my thing is it's not going to happen this year. They're like shooting for 2024 for UCLA and USC to join the Big Ten. But are these teams going to have their own rankings then, or is there going to be one like ESPN poll like they usually do? I mean, it's a free for all, and it's going to leave a lot of college fans like out the dry basically. Because I mean, like, what are you rooting for? I mean, you look at that division, Oregon. I can see it, Oregon, Baylor, and TCU being the most dominant teams in that division. But right now, the main two teams that all eyes are on is Clemson and Notre Dame. What are those two teams going to do? Are they going to follow the TV money?
Would that be SEC then? Or
SEC and the Big Ten possibly for either one of those, you know. And the thing is right now, I think the SEC and the Big Ten are at 16 teams right now. If they think they're trying to get into each 20 teams in each division to make the super teams, the super organization of 40 teams. So that's 8 more teams that are still going to be available to get into those divisions. So you like we talked about this off air, you know, Clemson, Notre Dame, maybe Georgia Tech, you know, UNC. I mean, North Carolina's football program is coming a long way. Is it on the same as the other ones? No, but also this also goes to basketball. If they follow suit for basketball as well. Yeah. I mean, UNC joining the SEC or the Big Ten, that's huge.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame seems like it would be a natural fit to go to the Big Ten, just proximity wise. If something were to happen, Clemson, obviously a lot of the ACC teams, it makes sense for them to just go to the SEC if they're going to break up, or maybe the Big East. Well, no, the Big East isn't really going to exist. It's just a cluster, and they're letting all these schools decide for themselves, and it's breaking up true rivalries. Like, you're not going to have the true rivalries anymore that actually means something to the fans. So that's the part that bugs me the most, is you're 100% losing that.
I mean, you think about it though. The good thing is you're going to see more competition for a team like Alabama, who plays like they usually play, like the University of Ohio, Indiana, or whatever the heck they, you know, some no name for the first four games of the season. Yeah. So you're going to see better, like Michigan, USC. I mean, that was always the Rose Bowl games. You know, like you always saw the Big Ten against the Pac-12 or whatever it was. You know, you always saw that in the Rose Bowl until they went to this new format. So that's going to bring back some of those rivalries, which is nice. But at the same token, you know, I don't know. I just think money is ruining everything, and that's what's horrible. It's taking the fun out of everything.
Yep, and that's what's dictating all of this too, all of the change. So
Well, let's move on to some NBA, because Ace, I know you have a lot to talk about with your Minnesota. They were huge in the headlines. Just a quick news that just happened about 18 hours ago. But Damian Lillard signed a 2-year, $120 million extension with the Blazers. Just when we thought that he would possibly be traded or that Portland would be on the decline, they end up keeping their star player. But back to you, Ace. Minnesota, obviously in the headlines. For those that didn't see, the Nets to give KD to Minnesota. Good, Ace, you take it away. I know you know the names, you know the things that there were.
I didn't hear that one initially. I think Kris has more context on that, but we traded for Rudy Gobert for Jazz last week. Gave up a lot for him. We gave up Pat Bev, Vanderbilt, I think 2 other the draft pick we picked this year, first round draft pick, Kessler, and like, I don't know, 2 or 3 other, one more player, a couple other draft picks. It was an insane haul for him, but honestly, we didn't give up our core pieces like would have happened with KD. Obviously KD to the Nets.
Yeah.
I have it right here.
The Brooklyn Nets reached out to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they wanted to trade Cat, Anthony Edwards, and 4 first-round picks for KD, who's 34 years old. Minnesota declined it right away, which is smart because Anthony Edwards
is absurd.
Averaging 25 points a game. He's the next future star for that team. He's going to be the next Ja, you know. And then you have Cat, who's averaging 20 plus points. That's your core of your team right there. KD has to go find a retirement home. That's where he needs to go, back to Oklahoma. You know, to rekindle those ties and those roots there, or go out to the NBA's old folks center and go join the Lakers. You know, that's where careers go to die.
I'm telling you, you're gonna
bench and watch rookies play.
You're gonna see KD and Kyrie somehow both end up on the Lakers.
No, come
The
on.
problem with that is you're gonna have to find somebody we talked about last week to take that Westbrook deal, who just signed a $47 million player option.
It's gonna happen. I'm telling you.
Who's gonna eat that deal? If the Nets
God.
do that, they're foolish. Anyone picks up that deal, they're foolish.
Yeah, we've seen worse happen. I feel like.
don't know.
I'm like, there's so much optimism in Minnesota. It's almost sickening to a degree. Like the Vikings, everyone's high on the Wild, and now the Wolves pulling off this insane. I think this changed. I don't know if KD would have signed anywhere. I feel like KD would have signed somewhere already had Gobert not have been traded. But by Gobert getting traded to the Wolves, I think it kind of changed the landscape a little bit for a lot of teams, because we're huge now. Like him and
The Wolves are
Karl
gonna be
Anthony,
solid.
yeah, they're huge. I don't like the fact that Karl Anthony thinks that he can just extend himself out and really not focus as much on the paint anymore. Because frankly, if he could do both, if he could do what Embiid does, you just body people up down low, but then hey, every now and then you can take an outside three if you want. That's what we needed out of Cat. But whatever, Gobert kind of picks up the slack there. The Wolves are gonna be a long, lengthy team and should be better defensively, because
The Wolves are going to be in
Yeah.
the top 3 of the NBA on that side. They really are. I just think Utah is dying. They're falling apart. Phoenix is a mess. I think Golden State is going to be solid unless they do the stupid KD deal. If they, rumors have him linked to KD going back to Golden State, which he just came up. Why would you give away your young talent that just got you a championship?
I don't know. It happens though.
It does, and it's foolish.
But here's the thing: Wiggins is getting paid a lot. So if there's any way that they could give him to Brooklyn, or like he gets to Brooklyn,
But they want
in that
Poole
trade,
too. They want Poole. They want Poole and Wiggins and picks. No way.
On the other hand, Ace, James Harden has been meeting with the Sixers. He was originally able to opt into like a $45 million option. And what the newest rumors are is that he's essentially going to sign a 1-year deal with a 2nd-year option, but it's going to be a $15 million pay cut. So I told my dad, I said, well, what is that? Like a 2-year, $30 million deal with that 2nd year an option? Like what does that look like? So whatever he's doing, it's helping the Sixers. Like they're already saying this is giving the Sixers a little bit of room where if they need to go get an extra player or go out and try and help, they can. I love this because I think Harden knows that he isn't the same Harden.
Yep.
It shows that he wants to stay in Philly. And honestly, he not only does he want to stay in Philly, he wants to help this team and build this team.
Yep.
Harden is a regular season stud, playoff dud.
Hey, you can say what you want, but this guy could have probably went anywhere and got $100 million from a team that was desperate. And he said, you know what? I'm staying in Philly.
They need pieces. You guys talking about it all the time. They need pieces. So this is a smart move from Harden, because I think where else is he going to go to get a pretty good chance to win?
Yeah.
Not for that kind of money. There's no team that's ready to win that can pay him that kind of money. Right. Like,
and I think that's what he
I can't
wants.
think
I
of
think he just wants to win that last. He wants a ring. Do they get rings in NBA? No.
They get rings, but he doesn't have any.
No, I know. I think that's his last thing that he wants to win. He wants to win. He's gotten so close. I mean, look at Houston when he was in Houston. He got so close so many times, but he just never got it. Do you think Harden is a Hall of Famer even if he doesn't get a win in the championship?
I say yeah.
I think
He's one of the best shooters in the league.
He's put up a lot of historic numbers, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like triple doubles and all that other crap that they take account for.
But the problem is him and Durant are building the legacy of being quitters to go shop for rings, to go to teams, and they never get them.
Yeah. I mean, did he quit in Houston? I mean, he was like a one-man show for like, what, 4 or 5 years and taking the team to the playoffs. How many years?
Quit. He put on so much weight to get traded.
Yep. And a part of that is the organization too. They're kind of doing that with the Mavs now with Doncic. It's like, you can't really, I don't know if you can win with literally revolving your entire team around one superstar. It just doesn't seem viable. I don't know.
But I think 3 is too much. I think the trick is 2 studs and you put some solid bench players around them.
Yeah, I agree.
I think when you get 3 or more, it becomes an all-star team, and they don't know what to do with the ball. And that's the problem. You have too many egos.
I think Golden State's the perfect example of having a firm foundation. You have your great shooter.
Absolutely.
You've Clay, who is it forward, a great forward. You have a great big man in Draymond. Draymond's not going to give you a lot of points, but he's going to get the rebounds.
He's not great.
Oh, I'm not saying
Draymond.
Single. I'm not Draymond. I literally just said Draymond's not going to score, but he plays defense and gets you rebounds, which is what you need to have a big man.
Yep. Yeah,
but you need a big man that's going to get you 18 to 20 points and not give you 6 to 7.
Yeah, but when you have
Draymond gives you more technicals than he does points per game.
Yeah, but when you have guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, all you gotta do is get that rebound, pass it out to them, and they'll get the points.
Yeah, and Draymond's not really considered a big man though. He's more of a forward. He's not like 6'11", 7 foot. If they had a big man, could you imagine Joel Embiid on that team, or a Jokic on that team? They'll be unstoppable.
I was just thinking that's really their only downfall, their only weakness. They don't really have an inside scoring presence, and they still won the title.
Yeah, and that's the thing that killed the Sixers. When I said from the start of the season the Sixers lack shooting, it's the truth. If you can't get Joel double teamed and you pass that ball to that open guy and he misses that shot, you're not going to win. You're not going to be a threat. They're going to do that all day. They're going to say, "Here, shoot it, shoot it." If you get that guy, even Harden disappeared in the playoffs. If Harden nails those threes like he did back in the day, that changes things. You can't double team Embiid.
Yep. I agree.
That's why we need a Maxey. We need a Tobias Harris. We need guys to step up and nail them shots. Danny Green and that Niang, whatever his name is, they gotta go. Danny Green's fun, but Niang, when you take eight 3-point shots a game and you make 2,
they have some kid. They have some kid in the summer league right now who looks like he's tearing up in the shooting.
Queen's doing it. He's doing well down there, and that Reed's doing well down there. And that's what they need too. They need a solid backup for Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
they do. Well, guys, where do you want?
I think Joel seriously only has like 3 more years left in Philly.
Oh, you kind of cut out. You said 3 years left, though.
Left in Philly.
I could see him leaving eventually.
I just think it comes a point where you got to say, okay, enough's enough. He's getting older. What do we do now?
Yeah.
And the problem with Daryl Morey, whatever his name is, he was the GM for Houston. So what's he doing? He's bringing back all those Houston pieces to be with Harden. You didn't win a championship there, so why would you bring in PJ Tucker and a House and guys like that? You put the band together, that's great. But
you got more pieces now. You got Embiid, you got Tobias Harris, you got Maxey.
But Tucker,
if you got, go ahead.
Tucker can't shoot. He's a great player, but
I was telling my dad before you came on this podcast, I kind of like the Tucker move, though. He's got that Philly attitude where he's going to body somebody and play defense, and he's tough, and he brings that veteran presence to the locker room with these young guys.
He fits in better with the Bucks. Like the Bucks for not re-signing him, I thought was terrible after they just won the championship.
Yeah. He
went to Miami, whatever, ends up with the Sixers this year. So he's kind of bounced around.
This is probably his last contract. I mean, he got like 3 years, 30 mil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. MLB All-Stars. Should we?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll end it with the All-Stars.
Aaron Judge led all voters.
Oh, come on. It's that New York market.
Oh, yeah. Because Stanton just slid in too. It's officially Mike Trout, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge starting in the outfield.
Rafael Devers starting at third base, but he did get hurt last night in the Yankee game.
Hurt last night, yeah.
Wait, did any Twins? What the heck? No Twins made it?
Why don't you?
They made it to the Celebrity All-Star softball tournament.
Why don't you name the starters? I don't know who the reserves are yet. But
Alejandro Kirk is the starting catcher. He plays for the Blue Jays.
That guy's having a good year.
He actually had 74% to 26% over Jose Trevino, who is the backup. Vladimir Guerrero.
Jose Trevino's the backup?
Yeah.
From the Yankees?
Vladimir Guerrero is actually the first baseman from the Blue Jays. Jose Altuve is
no, come on. Get him out of there.
Get the trash cans ready.
Sorry.
Tim Anderson. I guess these are the backups. Santiago Espinal, Bo Bichette, Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez might be starting because Rafael Devers is, as like I said, is injured. Aaron Judge is outfield. Mike Trout, Giancarlo Stanton, George Springer, Luis Gurriel, Shohei Ohtani is the DH, and Yordan Alvarez, I think, who is leading the MLB in batting average. For the National League, we have Wilson Contreras as the catcher.
He's going to get traded.
Paul Goldschmidt seems like he's been playing for like 100 years.
Yeah, I know.
You hear about him. Jazz Chisholm Jr.
He's good, Jad. Yo, Miami's slowly getting better. I've been seeing a lot of highlights on them.
The next Yankee shortstop, Trey Turner. He'll be starting at shortstop. Manny Machado, who actually is having a quiet year, is starting at third base. Ronaldo Acuna Jr. outfield. Mookie Betts outfield. Jock Peterson and Starling Marte and Adam Duvall are the backers. Bryce Harper, who I don't know if he's back from injury yet, is actually the DH.
He was starting to become on the MVP side until he got injured. Do you guys know that I Trey Turner's high school that he went to, that they have the field here for him? I played at his high school field like a month ago.
Really?
It was my last game I played at.
That's crazy. Where? Well, doesn't matter where. That's wow. All right. Well, Arise is leading all of baseball in batting average. He's arguably the best leadoff hitter in the game. And
Are we talking about Twins players here?
Yeah. Luis Arise should be an all-star.
I don't know who that is.
He's
Just
the problem is he's a utility pit player. So nobody really knows, like, okay, do we vote for him at second? Do we vote for him at third? Do we vote for him at first? Like,
And it's also fans too. Media puts this other big way.
I disagree with that. I think every team should have a representative from
one player at least.
Yeah. I think that's how it should be. I think the MLB should pick the pitching, let them pick the pitchers, let them pick the catchers.
Yep.
But I think every team should be represented in the All-Star game.
Mike Trout. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and now with the DHs, you kind of get an extra spot, I guess.
Let's face it. Mike Trout can bat 115 with 3 home runs, and people are still going to vote him in.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And that's the problem with fan voting, right? 100% right there.
Yeah.
So I thought Buxton should have probably gotten into he made an absolute incredible catch yesterday. Like,
yes, he did.
Up against the wall, kind of banged into it, running almost full steam. God, we need to win. We need to win one. I will be so happy if the Twins just get out of the first round of the playoffs this year. Just please prove to us you can get out of the playoffs. Then it's not going to bother me who the hell made the All-Star game or not. That won't matter.
See, Giancarlo just came out and said that he's willing to participate in the home run derby.
Yes.
That'd be entertaining.
Let me ask you guys something.
Yeah.
The All-Star game is not the game itself, but all the other amenities that go on, like the home run derby contest. It's becoming like the slam dunk contest in basketball. It's becoming dry.
I don't think so.
Do you think that with all the sponsorships in this world, do you think that they should have a $10 million bonus for the winner of that or something? You can shorten it. You don't got to do so many rounds, but I think.
Wait, MLB does though.
No, they don't.
No. MLB is like the only thing I can think of that actually has something you're fighting for. If you win the All-Star game, isn't home field advantage to World Series?
I'm talking about the home run derby contest and the
slam dunk contest. You get a car if you win the home run derby.
Do you?
Okay, Ty, they're millionaires. Do you think that car means anything?
It's a free car.
You never saw Mike Trout in the home run derby contest.
A lot of people don't do it because they believe it messes up their swing.
I'm just saying,
also puts a lot of pressure on you.
So what? If you put some kind of incentive out there, it's supposed to be a fans weekend. They should have contests where like long throws from the outfield, who can be accurate hitting home plate or hitting on like stuff like that.
I'll be honest. I think that the home run derby is one of the favorite things to watch. Number one, the whole stadium's packed. You never see an empty stadium. I could give a crap. I could give a crap about the All-Star game. The home run derby is so thrilling to watch. I watch it every single year.
But when you get guys like Bregman and guys like that are in it, and you don't get these guys that the big name studs, it's like not having Michael Jordan in the slam dunk contest. Michael Jordan versus Dominique Wilkins were the best slam dunk contests ever. I would love to see a Mike Trout, a Judge, a Giancarlo Stanton.
But you've seen them in it though.
You're not getting a point. That's fine.
No, like I get it, but I feel like the home run derby does a really good job of getting good guys in there every year.
It's getting worse and worse every year.
Yeah, and I feel like we talked about this before too. We can't try to come up with some alternate ideas for the weekend in general to try to get some fandom.
Let them use metal bats.
Oh yes. I personally, I'm like Ty. I do enjoy the home run derby. Do I wish there was like what I remember is oh my God, that Justin Morneau for the Twins facing off against Josh Hamilton at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that was huge.
Sammy Sosa hitting one out of like Miller Park in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
See,
But
I
there
think
was-
go ahead, Ace.
yeah, that's huge.
I think what's cool though is you talk about these big names. Like last year, sure, there weren't that many big names. I'll read it off. But what I love is that every year you have like these random guys like Trey Mancini was in it last year, and you're like, why the heck is he in that? But then he goes in the championship round against Pete Alonso and he ends up beating these guys. I mean, you had Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, you had Joey Gallo, Matt Olson, who you would think would go the distance, and they get eliminated like the first round.
Yeah,
I think that's
you know
sick.
how
Like
many
when
people-
Gary Sanchez
Guys,
beat Giancarlo Stanton that one year. How sick was that?
you know how many people are gonna, how many views baseball's gonna get if you have Mike Trout versus Aaron Judge versus
Yeah,
Giancarlo Stanton
yeah,
versus
yeah.
Pete Alonso.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
First out of Abreu from the White Sox versus Bruxton. I mean, if you get those names, the revenue they're gonna generate from that is gonna be a lot higher than getting a Bregman and whatever. You know, it's just
I'm not disagreeing with you. I also just don't think the home run derby's been necessarily bad. I love watching it every single year.
I don't know. I just think the way it's heading, it's heading the same way that the NBA All-Star. Like no one cares about the NBA All-Star anymore.
No, not at all. I hate the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
the home
the
run,
Yankees- the Yankees still the hottest team in baseball. I mean, 61 wins already. The thing that is really amazing is they're beating up on Boston, who has the highest batting average in baseball. And the Yankees and Boston are the first team in MLB history to be in the same division, and for the month of June have a win percentage of 750. It's the first time ever in baseball history that that's happened, and it shows you how hot the Yankees are because they are now 16 games up on Boston. I mean, they're 15 and a half up on second place Rays. So the Yankees are that hot right now.
Oh my gosh.
so
Matt,
good.
like-
And you know who I love? Matt Carpenter, because he's a good rest day player who's still batting well and hit another home run against Boston last night.
He's man, and I think he won a title with the Cardinals too. So like that experience going down the stretch here into the postseason is going to help that team, the Yankees, so much.
There's just so
You know
many
what?
different guys that pick each other up. Like,
Yes.
like Donaldson's getting hot all of a sudden. You know, even though Joey Gallo sucks, like he ran it like he hit a bomb last night. He almost hit an inside the park home run last night. Like, there's just so many different guys on the team. Like Trevino and Rizzo, I feel like are getting cold right now. You don't hear about them. But now there's the Donaldson stepping up. Like you just see so many people that are still allowed. Like Hicks is slowly getting these important hits. Like, it's just amazing to watch. I've never seen this with the Yankees before. Pitching still dominant. The bullpen's dominant.
Well, the thing that drives me absolutely bonkers is the Yankee pitching. It's good. It's ranked second, it just blows me away. But it's our hitting, and it's our bullpen. Our bullpen was listed as the best bullpen in the month of June. I don't think we allowed a run in the month of June. And they're doing it with like all of our superstars aren't in the lineup. Like last night, Stanton, Rizzo were on the bench. The night before, Judge was on the bench. Judge had a horrible night last night. He didn't really do anything. And our other players are stepping up. DJ LeMahieu, like you said, hot. Gleyber Torres is batting over 400 for the month of June. These players are getting it done. And the thing is even when our starting pitching isn't looking good, our bats are keeping us alive.
Yep. Yo, you know what I love too? This happened a couple times lately where Aaron Judge is bad and the umpire calls a strike right below his knees. You got to think Aaron Judge is 6'7". That's a ball all day. And they ring him up and you can see Aaron Boone is staring at the umpire waiting for him to turn out. And you can see him just cursing with his mouth. I was laughing so hard because he gets ejected almost every time that happens to Judge. He like flies out and starts screaming at him because he's a 6'7" guy. Did you guys see that photo though of the Pirate shortstop standing next to Judge and makes Judge look not as big as he is?
Really?
Isn't that crazy? He's a shortstop. He's like 6'6" or something like that. He's huge.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
That's
he's good. He's young.
insane.
He's good and young.
I mean, Correa's a big dude too. Carlos Correa. I didn't realize how big he I think he's got to be 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
Kind of built like A-Rod in a way. I'm the Yankees or them and the Reds. There's just a few teams that you don't want it to come down to the last at bat. You don't want to face them at the end. You can't say the same thing with the Twins right now. We don't know who the heck is going to ruin the lead for us going in late. And that's the part that bugs me the most. It's like we should have arguably 10 plus game lead over anyone in our division right now, but we've blown 5-6 games in the last 2 weeks anyways. That's you can't win down the stretch like that. You can't win in the postseason when you don't have dominant pitching, especially relief pitching. So
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's amazing in your division, Ace, it seems like everyone now is in a slump. I mean, you guys went 5-5 in your last 10, but the Guardians, since after they played you guys, they played the Yankees, and now they're 3-7 in their last 10. The White Sox are 5-5. The only team that has a good win percentage right now in the last 10 is Detroit, but they're 9.5 games back. The only thing is you guys have to win that division, because the way it looks right now, all the wild card teams are coming out of the East.
yeah, yep. And we're gonna, God, I mean, realistically, I don't know if we face I don't know which team I'd rather face. Like, I don't want to play any of those teams on the road. It just knowing the Twins' history, it just doesn't bode well for us, sadly. So
You know what's amazing is Baltimore's sitting there in last place, but they're hot right now, and
Yep.
they're only 4 games behind the second place Rays. Baltimore has won 3 walk-offs in their last 5 games. They won 5 in a row now. They're actually on a tear, and it's amazing.
How many games back are they from second place?
I just said 4. They're 4
No,
back.
the Orioles.
The Orioles are 4 games behind the
Wow.
Rays right now.
What's
So
their
the thing
record?
is,
What's their record?
they're 41-44, so they're almost 500. Every team in the East will be over 500 if the Orioles get there. But you know what's amazing? The crowd's back. Last night they had a huge crowd. The fans all in orange. It was an amazing game, and they came back and they had a walk off in the last inning to beat I think Trout's team, the Angels.
Wow.
And they're just young players going to town and having a great time, which is amazing.
yep.
Wow.
When does Trout request a trade? Because
If I'm Trout and you have another disappointing below 500 year this year, I'm sorry, but I don't care if Shohei Ohtani's there. I'm like, yo, listen, I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm done.
Yeah,
Like,
but he's part of the problem. He just came out of a 2 for 42 slump.
yeah, but
Trout?
what else is
Yeah.
there besides him and Shohei Ohtani? Like,
Rendon's there. They had that other guy.
I thought Rendon's been injured though.
That guy Ware would, and Rendon's out for the year, but Ware, whatever his name is, he was leading the league and made added batting average and home runs at one point or something like that. He's really good, but I don't know. I just think
pitching.
But at some point you got to think he's like, you know what? I've given I can to this team, and I just want to ring at this point. Like, let me go sign let me go just with a hot team that can help win a World Series.
And the thing is too is they're not in a bad division. I mean, you have the Astros who are 9-1 in the last 10. And surprising Mariners. The Mariners are freaking amazing right now.
Well, the Mariners have that Rodriguez kid that's dominating right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But
Angels are organizational. There's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's got to be. I don't know. They need something.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is there's no salary cap in baseball, so there's no reason why these teams can't spend money.
Well, they don't want to.
Real quick, let me do this story real quick, and then we can jump off here. I saw this story the other day, and I heard it on 105.3 The Fan. They're talking about how starting pitching is becoming a dying breed. Starting pitching right now is only averaging 84 pitches a game, and they're only averaging 5 innings a game as a starter. That's down over an inning plus from last year, and the pitch count's down almost 12 pitches. I mean, most pitchers last year were averaging about 96 pitches a game. They're saying that less than 1% of starting pitchers have a complete game this year. The whole point of this, they're trying to save pitchers' arms, but that's not working. Already this year, they have over $100 million in injuries from starting pitchers. What do you guys think of the way baseball is using analytics and going to this let's get 5 innings out of you and run to our bullpen? I think bullpens are all being overused right now.
Yeah,
I mean, what's the average attendance in a bullpen? Like 6 guys?
I don't know. I think teams can carry 13 pitchers now, if I'm not mistaken.
So I mean, I feel like it's kind of smart. I mean, yeah. I mean, if your pitcher's dealing, keep him in. Why go to analytics at that point? But also, if you have 13 guys in there, just obviously we're talking about the Yankees. The Yankees have a great bullpen. Why not? Why not save your guy's arm? That way he's healthy by playoffs. Like, I agree with both sides. I like old school baseball, but I also like if you have a great bullpen. Like, if I'm the Phillies and my starter's rolling, I'm keeping him in because I know my bullpen's not the greatest.
Let me ask you guys something.
Mm-hmm.
You have guys like Max Scherzer who are making $43 million a year. You have guys like Garrett Cole making $36 million a year. You have guys like Steven Strasburg making $35 million a year. You have guys like Trevor Bauer that are making $34 million a year. You have all these guys that are making this high amount of money for the game of baseball. I'm saying throw him. Throw him.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think Scherzer is an example of someone that you try not to throw as much because you want to get 5 good innings at him and still have him for the playoffs because he's getting older. But someone like Garrett Cole, who's a little younger, yeah, throw him as much as you can.
Well, in baseball, you pay somebody after they've proven it. Whereas like in football, you usually try to pay based off potential a lot of times.
Yeah.
So like to expect Scherzer at his age to like be a dominant horse, yes, you'd absolutely love to see that. But with what he's making, sadly, they kind of baby these guys. Like,
And it's also like they get 5 days rest, so why not throw him?
Yeah.
oh, I agree. And
Look.
the thing that, sorry, real quick, the thing that
No, you're
bugs
good.
me with Rocco, the Twins signing Rocco as their manager, like the GMs, our GM must have had an analytic mindset going into it to be able to hire somebody like that, because he has all of our starters on pitch counts. Like it just seems so apparent, whether they admit it or not. Like, you know, the guys are on pitch counts. And so it's frustrating because it's like once that comes up, you know they're getting somebody else, and then our bullpen sucks. I'd rather
You know
not
what
call
happens?
the bullpen.
You know what happens now? You're getting these starters that are making all the money, and you're only getting 5 innings out of them. Guess what? Now you're going to have guys, set up guys that are going to want more money. Like last night, Lucas Licky went 4 innings last night for the Yankees. You know, so at what point do you say it's like football? Where football now they're overpaying the quarterback. So you're going to overpay a starting pitcher who's going to have a pitch count of 80 pitches. If you want to rest a pitcher, let him pitch his heart out the whole game. But I mean, most of these pitchers are like 6'6", over 280 or 260, 280 pounds. They have the bodies to throw these freaking pitches. Let them throw. Let them throw. Because you know what? At the end of the day, if you need someone to come up, then you get one of your long relievers to start the game, or you go to a 6-man rotation.
I think a 6-man rotation. Yep. That's a
These
great
guys
idea.
make more money. These guys are making more money and they're getting softer. I remember talking to Kurt Simmons, who a great story. He played for Whitehall High School, and he played against the Philadelphia Phillies on a little high school travel team back here behind our house. They played against the Phillies, and he pitched against them. He got signed to the Phillies. He told me back in the day, he's like, you pitched until your arm fell off. He's like, you had broken bones in your hands or whatever. He said, you still pitched because you know what? You never knew if you're getting another start. He goes, these guys today are soft. He goes, these guys today wouldn't make it back in the day.
They already got the money. Yep.
And you know who his all-star coach was? Babe Ruth.
What?
Yeah. Babe Ruth was the coach of his all-star team.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Amazing. That guy had his hands were huge. And
But they were jacked up looking.
Jacked up. I mean, they were bent like different directions. But this guy's hands could fit over my whole face and touch the back of my head. That's how huge they were. And he said, baseball is just so soft today. It's so different. Yeah. It's the truth. All these sports, these guys are getting overpaid and they're getting pampered and babied. Let these freaking linebackers rip a quarterback's head off.
Hey. I wouldn't mind that.
Dang.
Yeah.
So
But-
right.
That's my baseball stats of the day. And by the way, attendance is down in Major League Baseball. You're seeing a lot of it now. Even Yankee Stadium, the Yankees being as good as they are, I think they're ranked. Where are they? They're ranked 4th in attendance right now.
Lower ticket prices.
Yeah.
I agree.
Stokes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about
Food,
30. It's like
everything else.
$30 for the cheapest seat sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
And
heck,
they already jack up food prices and drinks.
Yeah.
So come
I
on.
mean, heck, a bottle of water is like almost $5. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Well, guys, that was a great episode today. Hope you all get to enjoy your day. I think I'm gonna take my longboard and ride it to the beach, maybe, cruise a little bit. But happy to have been here with you guys. Hope everyone enjoyed this podcast up on all platforms. We hope you all guys just have a great week. Stay in the sun. Go get some 60 minutes of play action out there. We'll see you guys next time.
All right. Later.